Deborah, I have another tough case that you don't know anything about.
So I should sit back down.
Mr. Mr. Weller's sleeping through most of this, but we're gonna wake him up here to do our hearing.
I wondered.
And it's got a lot of money involved and he's not real with it and he's late. And I'd ask if you would stay. I apologize.
Anything to make this.
It's another no lunch Monday. All right. Why don't you go ahead and turn it back on for you now? I would have considered even maybe bumping this, but the complainant is here and he's been waiting for a long time. So we'll address it. This is file 23738 FY, People versus Timothy John Weller. Mr. Weller was charged with a felony computer crime. And as I mentioned, we're returning to the bad old days of multiple remands. This matter was bound over to the circuit court on a felony charge. A large amount of money was taken, $8,000, and it got remanded back to our court for a plea and sentencing. Well, I'm not sure I'm ready to do a plea and sentence, but I would be ready to do a plea. They're remanding these matters back for plea and sentence, but by the nature of the fact that they were a felony and came back as a misdemeanor, they're complicated. I don't know what happened. This case got bound over. There were several status conferences. It was going to be set for trial and it got remanded. And so the remand plea, Mr. Weller, would be to a misdemeanor charge of larceny over $200, but less than $1,000. The original charge was an allegation that you stole $8,000 from a Mr. Gregory White. That larceny charge is a just plain old grand larceny, punishable by up to 5 years imprisonment and a fine of up to $10,000. The computer part of it is a allegation that used a computer program, computer system, or computer network to steal more than 1,000, but less than 20,000. That's punishable by up to 7 years imprisonment and a fine of up to $5,000. You're also charged as a habitual felon as a fourth felony offense, making this punishable by up to life in prison. So the matter got bound over to circuit court. The can got kicked down the road a little ways, and then it got remanded back here for a plea to a misdemeanor charge of larceny more than $200, but less than $1,000. Mr. Weller, that's a misdemeanor. It's punishable by up to a year in jail and a fine of up to $1,000 or 3 times the amount of the money taken. In this case, it's alleged to be $8,000. So the prosecutor, and let me confirm this, Ms. Davis, has offered to dismiss the felonies and the supplemental for a plea to larceny over $200. And I understand you inherited this, but thank you for being here.
Quickly looking through the notes, it appears that yes, Prosecutor Marvin had made that offer larceny 200 to 1,000, and that the restitution was $8,000 joint and several between Weller and Sproul.
She is set for sentencing later this month with Judge Pattison. All right, Mr. Weller, the allegation is that you're going to be ordered to pay $8,000 restitution joint and several with Heather Sproul, one of your co-defendants here. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Could you take your hand away from me? Are you going to plead to that misdemeanor charge of larceny over 200 but less than 1,000?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bush, you confirm that's the plea
Yes,
offer?
it'll be more on an aiding and abetting factual basis, but we have previously discussed that. And this is not a spur of the moment decision today.
All right. Mr. Weller, do you understand that if you do plead to that charge, you'll be giving up your right to have a trial in front of a judge or jury?
Yes, sir.
If you had a trial, you'd have the right to be represented by an attorney. Mr. Bush is here with you. You can also hire an attorney of your own choosing if you wished. If you had a trial, you'd have a right to have any of the witnesses for or against you subpoenaed to come to court so they could be questioned under oath. You would have the right to take the witness stand yourself and testify on your own behalf, but you don't have to because you have a right not to testify. And if you did not wish to testify, the judge or jury could not hold your silence against you. And you have the right to be presumed innocent if and until the state was able to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Did you somehow induce the complainant here, Mr. White, to give you $8,000?
No, sir.
Well, tell me what happened.
I was solicited by Miss Heather Sproul to go open an account in my name, and what she did, she stole Mr. Gregory White's phone and transferred the money from his phone into my account. Somehow she got a hold of my account information and transferred the money into my account.
All right, that was $8,000. All right, well, and then you took 4,000 of that dollars and blew it at the casino?
No, you did not. The only thing I got out of that was like $500.
Well, you must have known there was some nefarious purpose for you to just blankly open an
She
account.
told me that, Your Honor, not to cut you off, but she told me that she inherited the money from her uncle. So I went and opened the account, and she went and, like I said, stole Mr. White's phone and transferred it. That's how she got his information. That's
All
from
right,
that
but
phone.
then you withdrew $8,000 from the Omni
That's
Bank.
because I believed her that she inherited that money, Your Honor. If I had known that, like I told Mr. Gregory White, if I had known it was his money, I would never have done it in the first place.
Timothy stated Heather gave you $3,600 and she kept the rest.
No, that's not true.
Now, that's what the police say.
He must have misunderstood what I was trying to tell him.
All right, well, you
May
didn't
I
just,
inquire on it?
yes.
And Mr. We've talked about this, and in retrospect, you realized that it was kind of a hinky thing that
Yeah,
that money was there for just a couple hours and you were paid either their theory, multiple thousands or $500.
I still can't take responsibility for it, Your Honor. But
All right, so you knew this wasn't all on the up and up.
right, Your Honor.
All right.
And he's open to his share of restitution. I suggest to the court that he wasn't as sophisticated as the other individual to put this together.
He's also not as dumb as he presents here. He knows more than,
I'm willing to pay him back whatever the court wants me to pay him back. I mean, whatever it takes.
oops. Her name is Sproul. Let me see, because she's set for sentencing on a certain date. Let's see if we can line these up, save the complainant. Well, that can't be right. Set for sentencing on September 5th. So let's see how I look for September 5th at 10:30. It's next Tuesday. I can do it. All right, I'll accept your plea. At 10:30. I'm not sure how we're gonna do this. Let's say it. Mr. Wilson?
Yes, Your Honor, if I please the court, I provided transportation for Mr. White because quite frankly, he has none. And I will not be able to do so during the month of September.
Well, I can, the other case is already set for September 5th. Mr. White, I can give you a bus pass to get here and back on September 5th. So I'll give you a round trip bus passes for that morning. But you're gonna need to be here for Mr. Sproul anyway. So here's 2 round trip bus passes for you to get here on September 5th. Courtesy of generous people that watch this channel.
Thank you.
What time are?
I'm gonna set this for 11. The other one's at 10:30. Now, you called this morning, you were out of state or you had to be somewhere. How'd you get here today?
Cousin, my cousin brought me all the way back.
All right, how'd you get here to the courthouse?
My cousin, drove up here, drove over here.
Where's he?
He took off. Yeah, I'm supposed to let him know how I'm supposed to get a hold of him because he has no phone now.
Hi, could you guys check and see if Mr. Weller drove here today? Yes, thanks. Bye. You've got a terrible driving record.
Yeah, they'll see me getting, Your Honor, I have to cut you off again, but they'll see me getting out of a passenger seat of a maroon or burgundy colored Dodge.
All right.
And passenger side.
Now, in the
It was in this parking
report,
lot out
you're
here.
talking about driving. The other thing I need to confirm, I don't know whether that interview was recorded. According to the affidavit of probable cause, she gave you $3,600, which you took to Firekeepers and lost, except for $23. Plus you were driving all over the place.
I learned my lesson
I
from that,
made
Your
a
Honor.
traffic stop bearing a Michigan temporary plate, made contact with Timothy Weller in the driver's seat. I don't know what I'd do to keep you from driving. So there's a dispute about how much money you took. You don't have 2 nickels to rub together. I'm not very encouraged about this man getting his $8,000 back. But you agree that the restitution will be 8,000 joint and several with Miss
I'm willing,
Sproul?
like I said, I'm willing to make this right with him. I mean, I feel bad about it, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make it right.
And I do wanna, I have not looked at this carefully, obviously, so in just going over the bank statement that I pulled up, there may be some withdrawal fees and that sort of thing, so
Okay,
I guess I would like to leave that restitution somewhat open. I mean, it's expected it's going to be around the $8,000, but there may be some fees. I want to get that cleared up so that the victim is made right. But I also have concerns about Mr. Weller's ability to be here himself on Tuesday. And if we have the victim coming back and the other co-defendant, I want to make sure that he is going to be here as well. So I guess I'll leave that to the court's discretion as far as that goes.
I'm willing to come back.
all right, yes, your bond's canceled. They'll bring you back. And we'll deal with it. That's next Tuesday, which is 8 days. Stealing $8,000 from this guy certainly develops at least 8 days. Plus you keep driving a damn car.
No, I think he's been in jail for upwards of 45 days in this case.
Yeah, he bonded out. I'm not sure how. And I set the bond at the amount that was stolen. I think it got reduced when it was remanded. And I don't like these remands, and there's not much I can do about it, but they come in, they're always difficult to deal with. Yes, your bond's canceled. You're no longer presumed to be not guilty. I will see you next Tuesday at 11 o'clock.
Thank you, Your Honor.
What am I going to deal for?
Your bond's canceled.
Why is my bond being canceled?
Because you just pled guilty to helping somebody steal $8,000 from this man.
Yeah.
Plus you showed up late and slept through most of the earlier proceedings. I'm not sure what's going on with you, but I hope you're in a better state of mind when I see you next Tuesday morning. All right, you're free to go.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Why am I being arrested for? I don't understand. I don't want to throw my pleas in.
Oh, it's too late for that. We can discuss
Why am I
that
being
next
arrested for, man? I ain't
You're
doing anything wrong,
you're not
man.
arrested. You pled guilty to stealing $8,000
No, I
with,
pled guilty.
and then canceled your bond.
Man, it's crazy, man.
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
One of us is.
Why
All
am I
right,
being
I'll see you
arrested
next
for,
Tuesday. And you may be demethed. This is in the matter of Timothy, oops, let me turn the record on. This is in the matter of People versus Timothy John Weller. Mr. Weller was charged with using a computer to commit a crime, larceny of more than 1,000 but less than 20,000, and larceny over 200 but less than 1,000. The defendant entered a plea to larceny over 200 but less than 1,000. I set the matter for sentencing for today. The matter was bound over to circuit court sometime last year or earlier this year, and then it was remanded back earlier this spring, bound over in May, remanded in July. I canceled Mr. Weller's bond. He wasn't very happy about that, but set the matter for sentencing this morning. And so here we are. The complainant was here the day of the plea, but he wasn't able to be here today. His transportation, Mr. Steve Wilson, was here. Mr. Wilson wrote a letter on his behalf, and but he's not here. But he did express this, essentially turned his life upside down, losing all of this money. Mr. Bush, what would you like us to know here?
Mr. Weller, in open court, agreed to assist jointly and severally on full restitution. I don't know that we'll ever know exactly what happened here. I think there's a fair amount of finger pointing, but Mr. Weller has accepted responsibility for his portion of this case. He is not in the best physical health. He deals with seizures. He's currently off his med. Prior to coming into custody, he was working part-time at the Subway store in Sturgis, Michigan. As often happens to our homeless population in St. Joe County, he's physically lost his ID, he's physically lost his Medicaid card, so he's having a difficult time getting re-involved in services. As I said, he is currently homeless. He has a past history of dealing with community mental health. He wants to re-engage. His diagnosed symptoms were depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder. He has spent a substantial time in jail. This is a tragic case to the victim. We reviewed Mr. Wilson's letter. What Mr. Weller is asking is an opportunity to be supervised on probation, to supervise restitution, and to get him involved in community mental health. And it escapes me the current name, I'm sorry, but community mental health or the current successor. And I'm going blank on their name. Thank you. Yes, pivotal. Thank you.
I'll hear from Mr. Weller, then I'll hear from Mr. Marvin. Mr. Weller, what would you like us to know?
First of all, Your Honor, I would like to say I'm sorry for what happened. And like I told you the last time, I'll do anything I can to help him.
Well, you got mad and you said you wanted to withdraw your plea.
That's because I was confused.
All right, you wish your plea to stand at this point?
Yes, sir.
I'm trying to figure out the bond situation here. You were in custody. I think when Judge Stutzman remanded the case, he reduced the bond. I can't discern that from looking at this file. When did you bond out?
End of May, first part of June, I think it was. I went in there in April, I believe, Your Honor, and get out till like June.
The reason I can't tell is because the bond was posted in circuit court, so it doesn't show up in our register. Hello, Deputy Kindig. I'm trying to calculate how much time Tim Weller's got credit for. Timothy John Weller. He got arrested in April, and I can't tell when he bonded out. April 27th. All right, 4/26. All right. All right, thanks. Bye. All right, you went out on April 26th, which is 4 days in April, 27 days in May, which is 31 days. Then I put you back in jail on 8/28, which is 3 days in August and 5 days in September, which is 8 days. So you've got 39 days credit. All right, now you guys, Heather Sproul primarily, and this other guy stole $8,000 from this complainant, and it turned his life upside down. He was working, he had a job, he had an ID, he had saved $8,000. Keystone had a place for him to live. He wasn't supposed to let people live there, but he let you guys live there. And he got ripped off, and he lost his housing, he lost his job, he lost his benefits, and according to Mr. Wilson, he's now living under a tree. He's also relapsed after months of sobriety. How much money did you get?
Your Honor, the only thing I got was like $600. All the rest of it, Heather and him took from me. And I didn't live with Greg White at the time. I was still homeless on the streets.
All right. Now, at one point, you had a Ford Escape. I don't think you had a license, but they said, well, how did you get money to buy this car?
Saving.
Saving from what?
Working, doing odd jobs and stuff.
All right. So you bought that car with your own money.
Yes.
You told the officers you got $3,600 and you spent it at the casino, every penny. So is that accurate?
I don't remember, Your Honor, because it was all confusing at the time. But the money I got was $600.
Did you blow it all at the casino?
No, Your Honor, I did not.
Well, where did that come from?
That came from money from me working on the side.
Well, let me just say, I don't believe you. I don't know which lie is correct, but you told the officers you went to the casino and gambled it all away and didn't win one penny. Mr. Marvin, what's your position here?
This is a felony, and the reason it's not upstairs is because the laws have changed recently, and they actually have been relaxed, as you know, where the consequence that we used to have, or the threat of prison, it doesn't even exist. As a matter of fact, there's an assumption that anything under 18 months is not even jail. So upstairs, this would have been probably no more jail. And what I'm interested in is getting that man his money as soon as we can, if it's possible. But there also had to be a consequence. I don't think 39 days is enough for what happened. Whatever he did with the money, whatever they did with the money, I can tell you that an account was set up by the guy sitting here in this room right now. And then $8,000 is transferred to the account that he set up. And whatever his crook friends did with it, I don't know. But it was pretty bad because they preyed on this man, took
Can I say
advantage of
something?
him.
I will when he's finished. This is his turn.
So I think that we're down here because the law has changed. And if I want to get anything done, it's through this court. So I'm balanced. Now I've got to try to juggle. If he had enough money to save up to buy a car, which I doubt, then that means he can get to work and start paying back this man who's now homeless and in really bad shape. But I also think that 39 days for what he's done is that I don't think that's enough, Your Honor. I think it's pretty bad what happened here, and there's got to be. I'll leave that to you, obviously, but I think it should hurt a little more. I don't know if this is a matter of I'm sorry I did it or I'm sorry I got caught.
Well, and I don't believe he's telling me the truth. And I think there's also a methamphetamine factor here. You were high when I saw you, and you're not now. You've been in jail for 8 days and your head is on straight. So that's a plus. But you're homeless, jobless, you have a methamphetamine addiction, and you're not telling me the truth about what happened to this guy's $8,000. The only way to collect it is to try to put you on a probation, and I really don't want you on probation. And I think it's unlikely we're going to get $8,000, but the guy is clearly out the money. What else did you want to tell me, Mr. Weller?
Your Honor, like I said, I'll do anything to pay this man back. I'm remorseful for what I did. Whatever it takes to pay this man back. I just need time to get a job, to start paying money back to however I can get it back to him. I'm gonna take responsibility for this.
All right. Well, I wish you'd tell me the truth about what happened. When's the last time you worked a real job?
So what?
All right. Well, you're not going to be able to pay. Now, supposedly you saved up money and bought this car. I'm not sure I'd buy that. I don't know if this money went to buy this car. You don't have a license anyway.
Part of it did, 600 of it did. The other money I came up with.
All right. So I don't, all right. My apologies to the probation department. 24 months probation.
I don't care if it's flipping a burger at McDonald's, Your Honor, it's still a job.
There's honor in every job. 100 days, credit 39, leaving 61 days to do. The fine is 0. The crime victims' rights is 75, a $50 state minimum fee. I'm gonna waive the probation oversight fee. I'm gonna waive the attorney fee. You owe $8,000 restitution, joint and several, meaning it gets paid. I don't care who pays it, but theoretically you're half. But you're still not telling me the truth. I don't know whether you gambled it away, bought a car, bought tarot cards. I don't know what you did with it, but you're not being truthful. And the likelihood of you getting, first of all, you gotta get out, get a place to live, get a job, which is what Mr. Wilson had helped this guy do. Helped him get ID, helped him get a job, helped him get a place to live through Keystone, helped him get sober. And the guy was really doing well. And they, Mr. Wilson is part of this homeless outreach group in Sturgis where they help people with just fundamental things. All that stuff. And then Mr. Wilson took him to the bank and he realized his $8,000 was gone and he just fell apart. For naught. You guys took his money and blew it. It was very devastating to him. And anything we get back is better than none. That's $8,125. No alcohol, no drugs, substance abuse counseling and treatment is directed. I don't really want you on probation. One option was just give you 365 days in jail, but as Mr. Marvin says, that doesn't get this guy any money. We'll see if we can squeeze some out. Anyway, you've got 61 days to do minus good time, which will be about 50 days. It'll also give you more time to detox from the methamphetamine. You don't have money to live or eat, but you manage to scrabble up enough money to feed your methamphetamine addiction, and we need to deal with that also. All right, you can go with the court officer.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Kyle.
Yeah.